Hello, Octi. Thank you for your time today. You are the soul behind Octagramophone. Okay, you can say this right now better.
Yeah, I will. It's a
and
tricky name.
yeah, it's not so tricky, but I haven't practiced. I have to. Octagramophone.
Yes.
Octagramophone.
Yeah.
Can you please introduce yourself to the audience and say who you are? What's your musical background? Where you came to the place where you are now, basically.
Of course. Yeah, well, I'm Octavio, Octi for the friends and for short.
Octavio, that's good.
And yeah, and I love that you go for the Octi because it's really the one that I usually use the most. And yeah, I mean, right now I'm my main project is Octagramophone. I do acknowledge I picked a tricky name a little bit. It's fully inspired by the Deutsche Grammophon. I don't know if you know the classical music
Yep, I know.
epic record label, which by no means I'm saying that I'm a classical trained musician, but it's I'm just a big fan of it. And so right now Octagramophone is my thing, and it's been quite a journey. I think it started all of this from a very personal outlet of just emotional stuff that I needed to do or say. Back in 1999, actually, I was born and raised in Mexico City,
Oh,
and
Mexico.
Mexico, yes. And uh, my brother was more involved in music throughout all his life. He did go to school. He had like more of a education in it, and he was a big fan of many bands, and he was always playing guitar. So I think that's one of the first images I have is because he's 7 years older than me, and he's my only sibling. So he's always playing guitar, and I think that's kind of how I got introduced into it by seeing him, and but not. I didn't want to do it. Like it was just like because it's like this thing with like your big brother. You don't want to do everything he's doing.
Yeah. You
Just
wanna be different. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, you want to be different. So I think like I resisted to go into the route that he was doing. Um, so what I did first was I was really in love with acting, and just through school I did some musical theater, and I was so obsessed with classical music that I think that's how it began. Like that was my thing that began to form my identity.
Hmm.
And until 1999, which is when I was like 14 years old, that's when I finally picked a guitar.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, in a serious way, because I had picked one before, but that's the time that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play music, and it was just out of the need to. I mean, there were so many bands, and back in the day, Mexico City didn't have that much international bands touring in Mexico.
Hmm.
It was very weird, like in the
Yeah.
90s.
Okay, yeah, and also I have to admit, but we can talk about this later. I don't know any band from Mexico, international band. I mean, I'm pretty sure there is a lot of music, but the only thing I can remember, I met one an El Mariachi type of guy music, and I liked it too. But it's kind of very specific, but not electronic and rock
Yeah,
and stuff. But on the other hand, talking about Germany, Rammstein
yeah,
seems to be pretty big over there, and
massive.
and you ask me about my music, and for some reason in Mexico City I have the most listeners. But anyway, sorry, please continue
And
to
and
say.
we should talk about this because yeah, this is
Okay,
this
yeah.
is this is
You should tell
important
me. You
indeed.
should tell me how to get
I
to my crowd. No, but
yeah.
please, sorry. Just continue with
No,
you.
no. Yeah, and look, I'm going so back in time because this is key actually.
Hmm.
This whole thing that you just talked about is so I don't know how it and why, but this is how Mexico works, at least in my perspective. And I hope no Mexicans watching this get offended if I say it this way.
Okay,
But
say it nicely.
yeah, I'll say it very nicely. No, there's nothing wrong about it. It's just like so. There's both the national act in everything, like media, arts, and all that stuff. But we do have a lot of access to international,
Hmm.
everything international. I think there's this cultural thing about aspiring to be open and being somewhere else and seeing the world and kind of showing Mexicanisms to the world that makes us
Hmm.
look for things outside as well.
Okay.
And so European music is extremely like heavily rotating, and there's a lot of like fandom. And I also think because we're like hundreds of, I think we're like 116 million Mexicans there living in just that region of the world. I feel like that's why also organically there's a lot of different demographic and different music styles. But in the 90s though, it was shut down in a way. It's like you just listen and watch MTV and find weird bootlegs of European music, and kind of like underground, but nevertheless society was just supporting national acts. It was very weird.
You mean on the public radio and
Yes.
media stations and stuff. Okay, got it.
So that's what happened is that when in 1999 very few bands were coming to tour, and it was really frustrating because in my case I was more inclined towards this outside world and the inside world. So I just picked a guitar to play songs of bands that I liked, and that's how it really began. Like it's like me just playing, like learning tablature and mimicking others people's song, and then I just began to write music, like just in parallel, and then it was all in English, because he was like, well, I only listen mainly to English speaking music.
It sounds a little bit like you were a little bit the rebellious child. You wanted to kind of do the opposite of what you kind of got fed from all the media and stuff, and so you wanted completely English and not el mariachi and whatever
Oh.
And also, what kind of music was your brother into? Was it also that you took something different than him, or picked something different than him?
Kind of. I mean, so he was playing mainly like, he's a big fan of Guns N' Roses and Metallica and this type of vibe. And then it's the 90s, so obviously that's where it's booming.
Big then, yeah.
So he had bands. He was pretty active in music, and he had bands, and he was having some shows and making his own music in that same type of style. And mine was, I kind of remember he might not remember this, and I'm pretty sure he's going to watch this, but he might not remember that he used to make fun of my songs when I began to write them. He said they were like these protest type of songs, like it's just guitar.
In a way, he was right. You were kind of protesting against, the things you got fed by the media, to kind of get outside of this bubble.
True, 100%. And then I think I to your point, like I took that same, like, daring my brother, I don't want to be like him, to the other acts. Like, I don't want to write music like the rest of my peers. And I'm from this suburb called Ciudad Satélite, which is, well, satellite city is in English, and it's this little satellite in Mexico City metropolitan area. And also for some reason there's a lot of musicians there. I think it's because there's this kind of like wannabe middle class environment, and therefore maybe we have access to certain music. And so there's a couple of bands coming from there. So, there was that environment around me all the time. And then I teamed with my brother, actually, like to make a band, my first band.
Okay.
And yes, which is funny because then eventually it's like,
it's nice. I had a problem myself, and I know exactly. You have this kind of, how you say, competition, or you don't want to do things together, but then after a while, when you get older, usually you see it's my brother, and you have so much in common, and then you just, I'm happy to hear that you teamed up with him.
We did, and so that's my first project in 1999. The name is Sweet Suicide Monkeys, and that's has been one of my central anchor musical everything in my life, because it's not until 2014 that I stopped using that name. But for many years it was my brother and I. Then we worked as a collective, so sometimes we would have like more people around us, like being a full band. Then we'll go a little bit more like just the two of us. We were recording a lot of demos. He did share that mindset of not doing just the things that Mexican audiences were expecting from us. But it was kind of difficult sometimes because also back in the day, I don't think it was very well received to perform in English if you were like Spanish speaking. So we did find a lot of resistance. Now people do it more. And I'm not saying that I'm one of the, folks who did it first. I'm pretty sure there were more.
You plowed the path for all the others. You are a trendsetter.
Exactly. No, I'm pretty sure there were more, but it was not very well received. The sounds we were exploring were definitely more like in the darker electro goth, alternative rock type of sound. The music. So he will have his songs, and we did meet in like common ground, but his were more guitar. Now I think of them as progressive rock based. Mine were very lyrical, and my lyrics were like about just symbolisms about society that I like to play with and give it a little twist. But then he moved to Canada, and that's where we kind of took a little pause on this project, and I had another project right away called Logo, which with some friends of my brother actually, but that was like my Mexican rock band, and it was fun. Like I did what people wanted, like here's a song, I'm gonna talk about this, and it's gonna have like verse, chorus, and that's it.
The typical rock formula, basically.
Yeah, so and now it's like the 2000s, like 2005 or so. So it's like this type of sound, I guess a little bit indie in certain ways. But just doing that was what made me be like, I love it, but I feel like, I mean, in a way, because I'm not mainstream and super famous, I am blessed in the sense that I should do what I really want to do. Like I'm not contractually obliged to sing certain type of music right now. So that's where I took it with more strength, like do it with my own style and the type of music that I want to do. So I went back and revived Sweet Suicide Monkeys for a couple of years. Now without my brother, but we did collaborate remotely. Like when I was recording stuff in the studio, I would ask him to, come in and do some lead guitar stuff. So he's been there like throughout the years. Even now with Octagramophone, he has helped me with some stuff. And the last years before moving to Canada, because now I live in Toronto, like it's been 6 years, I did have a very cool full band. I really loved it. Like the sound was, more organic, but still this type of like broken structures and things that I like to do.
Not too much, like formulaic. It wasn't too formulaic. That's the thing.
Yeah, and that was very exciting. We worked together for like for 2 years or 3 years. It was great. I was working with this guy who is like percussionist, and he's Mexican, but he's from Galicia, Galician heritage from northern Spain. So they have their very own traditional type of music that he is very into. So he was bringing that into the mix. Everything that I normally do with synths, we had someone playing violin, and it was amazing. The bass player and I had the most amazing dynamic. It was a beautiful band in that sense. And we worked on an album. I wrote an album about psychoanalysis, like just going deep into sessions.
Deep stuff. Okay.
Yes. So it was very dark. It was very intense, and I think up until that moment I was still making music as a personal outlet, not really thinking about someone has to digest this and I have to connect with someone. Which I think now is the other way around. Like Octagramophone, that's kind of why Octagramophone it's an object, but it could be also a person, and it could be also a band if one day I get there. But it's now looking to connect with people. That's the difference. So now I think more about like, okay, this song has to say the story, but I want to connect with these people who feel this certain way, or maybe feel different way, and I might discover that through the songs. So it's been now a journey.
Yeah, but it sounds like healthy journey, or for me it sounded like the pendulum swung in one direction, very extreme, kind of not caring of what anyone thinks, and that's fine too. And now it's kind of swung to the other way, and now you get into the middle, maybe, that you try to get capture the attention of people, and then still try to tell a story. And of course, I listen to your music, and it's still not too mainstream. It's not like I don't know what to describe it to, but maybe we get to this now, because Octagramophone. How would you kind of? I know you might hate this question, but how would you describe the style of Octagramophone?
I was thinking about this 2 days ago because it came up in a friend conversation. It's the first time I don't know 100%. So because let's say from a backstage architecture side, I know how I'm building the songs, like the narratives in my head. Mm-hmm. I think it's falling under experimental type of umbrella now. Mm-hmm. And I play with the spectrum of goth type of vibe, but then I go a little bit light and I deliver through, I think, either guitars or synths. So that's why I think right now it's falling under experimental or still alternative type of rock. But I don't have I'm not part of any family right now, and that feels very weird. Even when I'm trying, because right now what I'm going through is trying to find an audience, mm-hmm. and I can't easily find it because sometimes certain songs attract other people.
Yeah, and the thing is, I'm an artist as well, so I also dislike this question because it's kind of it's really hard to class things, and I like to be free, like you in your head, music you can run in every direction. There is no right or wrong. There is just what you like and what you don't like and stuff. So, but on the other hand, this coming to me as a radio DJ, it's really complicated if I would listen to all the music that's out there, and so you in a way you have to narrow it down a little bit, and you have to kind of give it put it in a box somewhere. Even on one hand, it's for me it's a double-edged sword. I hate it, but I need it, because otherwise I would never finish to listen through an avalanche of music. So but I can see your problem, and it's a problem I have faced myself, and but I've found my peace with it, because otherwise I like a lot of different kind of music, and I guess you have listened to my radio show as well. It's a mixed bag. I like pop music and metal and industrial and dark wave and goth and all in one show, and I really love it. I can do it, because it's my show. I can do whatever I like. But still, I'm looking more for Gothic, industrial, and dark wave. That's kind of the ones I'm mostly going for. But of course, there's a lot of fringe, and and you have, of course, the tainted goth, dark wave edge. You also fit in there, so that's absolutely fine. But it's not goth and it's not dark wave. It's something else.
So it's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult. I've listened to your music when we began to interact, and I was sharing one of the songs from my latest EP, Rise, and then like even in your music, like I something that I found was I can see that diversity. I've only listened to Megal Modash, which and again, sorry if I'm pronouncing weirdly, but because I understand you have even more other projects as well, but even within that, I can see some sort of like play with the spectrum of whatever your sound is. Like,
exactly.
Like Hell Belongs to Me is one of the songs of your songs that I've been listening to quite a lot, and especially that bridge close to the end bridges like that excite me a lot.
Okay. That's funny, because that's one of the songs. Honestly, I'm going to talk about shortly, but we're going to talk about you. This talk is
Yes.
about you. I wrote it in one sitting. It was one night, and I had this melody in my head, and I needed to finish it. And that's why the lyrics, if you listen to the lyrics, they are really crap because they don't exist. I was like, oh, I want to finish it, and I kind of had everything finished in one sitting, in one night, honestly. And then I needed to put on lyrics, and I didn't had any. So I was like, oh, but I have this melody in my mind, and it was just like mumbling stuff. And then it became the thing because I never could recreate the feeling of a night. I guess you get this too, and so we can go back to you. Once you're really inspired, you kind of there is a spark, and the spark is only in this moment, and you kind of have to finish it because otherwise, it's gone. You cannot kind of keep it and I do it later. Now I'm going for lunch, and then when I come back, I finish the thing. You have to do it right now in this moment because the energy, the whatever you want to call it, the muse that kisses you in this moment, and you have to use it. And that's why I was like, I need to finish it now. And it was it has now a lot of thank you very much, but it's kind of the lyrics are really like a lot of
just happening. I've done things like that as well. You know what? It's because kind of I feel like I'm getting my second chance to start music now that I moved to Canada. Because I'm not saying that I had like a lot of following in Mexico, but I definitely did know how to attract people to what I was doing, and I knew a lot of musicians. But when I moved here, obviously that ended abruptly, and I had to start from scratch, and it took me a while. So between 2014, 2017, I didn't do anything. I mean, I kept writing songs, but I didn't do anything with it because I needed to take the energy and the guts to start from zero again, like really, really zero. Like, I don't know, even going to open mics for me was not a thing at all.
I'm with you. This it's not easy. People.
It's not easy.
That's what people always forget. As a musician, and especially I have two things I'm going to say to that. Is I'm also an actor, and for me being on stage is not a big deal. I'm always not that you get me wrong, I'm always have how you say stage fright, that's the word in English, Lampenfieber in Deutsch, stage fright. And but once I'm on stage, I'm cool, and I play my role, and I'm completely in it because it's a role I play. If you do it with music, it's much tougher because music is so personal when you make it from your own. So it happened to me when I performed, alone, like you said, because it takes a lot of guts, and because you put your heart out a little bit, you kind of you show your inner thoughts, and you really mean what you say. And somebody heckles you, and then it really hits you hard. So.
I know.
What people don't understand often, I found that this is not just like I don't know. It's really crippling sometimes if you got laughed at, or if you don't get taken seriously, or something. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of bond with you on this because I completely understand what you're going through. It takes a lot of guts alone on the stage, with the music you love, and the lyrics you've wrote, and the meaning you have in there, because you, as an artist, you show a lot of your inner thoughts, and it makes you very vulnerable. And this is what people don't understand often.
I know it's not easy. It's not easy because in a way, I really from acting. I think I didn't really pursue that, but I did had that moment in my childhood, and I wasn't very young, so I think I was very aware of what I was doing there, and I learned a lot about criticism and how to respond to criticism. So criticism doesn't always affect me, and it doesn't affect me if you don't like the music, but in a certain way, it's like I'm writing and I'm singing things about myself, and sometimes I transform them into a way that sound more. Now, this is new, right? Like I try to make them sound like something that people can connect to, but nevertheless, by you not liking me, it's kind of you're telling me you don't like something of myself, and it's because
Exactly.
it's so explicit.
And this
When
hurts.
it hurts. Like in a conversation, I mean, people can disagree for sure, but in our habits of conversation, we really rarely go there when we say, no, I don't like what you're saying, this, and I don't like this, and I think we don't do it so explicitly. And with music, people do it all the time. So yeah, I mean, the first 3 years, I think I was going through a period of like, okay, so I've changed countries and culture because I wanted. It was one of my biggest goals in life to see outside of Mexico, and Canada always sounded very attractive in the sense of the multiculturalism
Yeah.
and how.
I lived for 2 years in Montreal, so I really
Oh
love
wow!
Canada. Canada
Oh,
is great, you know. Montreal is
and
even
Montreal is
different, you know. It's
beautiful.
Quebec, you know. It's
Yeah,
Québécois,
yeah,
mangerie, le baguette.
yeah,
I don't know. Osti, tabernac, and all the good
yeah.
stuff. Anyway, yeah, no. So I love Canada. So I'm with you completely. It's a great
It's
place to be.
beautiful. It's beautiful. And then yeah, Montreal is a great city for music, and Toronto, I feel like, I mean, when I landed in Canada, it had become already, also Toronto was becoming like a hub for music. I know Halifax is as well, and I mean, I'm pretty sure every city or community has their own music thing, but this I see as Canadian hubs. But I was not ready for rejection, to be honest. At the beginning, I was like, I'm dealing with, immigration, and I don't know if I'll be able to stay. And so I'm kind of also there asking you, do you like me? Do you want me to stay? At that time I was single, so I was looking for, I mean, I'm still single, but I was looking for relationships. So I'm also asking people, hey, do you like me? Do you like what you see? So I couldn't have a third layer of, these are my core emotions and how I really feel from the deep side of my heart. Do you like it? I was like, I can't handle rejection in all these many levels. So I was just writing music and like keeping it to myself. And it was not until 2017 that I was like, you know what? When I don't make music, and even though I know how difficult it is to be on stage and face rejection, I tend to feel sad and depressed and limited. So I know that in my life I should just do it. And I've been doing it, I mean, back in 2017, it has been already like many years. So I was like, just do it. And I started the process of trying to, I mean, now it's more difficult. It's like, okay, at that time I was like 33, 32. And it's like, at this stage, let me try to jump into the Canadian music circles. And I don't think I have still. Like I've met a lot of musicians, but I think I haven't really found what I already had in Mexico, which happened organically there because I'm from there. But it hasn't been easy. And then I began to use these websites like, what's the name of this? I forget the name of it, but it's like it's like a dating. It works like a dating website, like where you have a lot of
Okay.
profiles for
For
musicians.
musicians, dating for
For
musicians. So,
musicians.
okay.
Well, it's not dating for musicians, but it's like when you try, like it's just you trying to collaborate with musicians. So, the reason why I think it's quite similar to a dating app is because you have profiles. It's, I like this type of music, and you have to, like,
Hello, hello.
exactly, exactly. You have to sell
The
yourself.
mugshots.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
but it's not for dating. It's for making music. So I began to use that, and it was funny that I found the similarities in that. But I met a couple of people, and I had a I had the chance to put together a band. But it's so funny. It's a band that never saw like light of day, and I love that experience now, compared to when I was telling you about Sweet Suicide Monkeys and like the other band that I had and all this other stuff that I did over there. This one is, we worked on it for a year, but we never ever put anything out there. We never performed, and I don't know why. I feel like maybe our experiences as individuals were so different that we didn't never found the moment to show it to the world. But I was ready to show it to the world because I had been in 3 year break. So I was like, no, we should do it. So my brother, again, it's so funny. My brother is coming up in the conversation all the time. He had a show here in a bar with a cover band that he has with some friends, and they had an open slot for for an opening act. So he told me, hey, do you and your band want to play? So I went back to these guys, and they didn't feel very comfortable because we had not done that for like ever, like as an act. So my brother was like, well, why don't you do it by yourself? Like all these other songs you have from all these 3 years, even music from Sweets and Monkeys, just go and do it. And that was it. That was
it was the birth, basically.
Yeah. First of all, I had to put together a name, and I didn't want to use my full name, like my Octavio Juarez, right? That's my name. Like I didn't want to because I feel like it sounds like I'm going to sing to you like Mexican folk music.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, there's a stereotype in your head that you're like, oh, Octavio had what's your last? Anyway, Octavio is singing for you. Yeah, you know, he comes to your table with a little, you know, with a, how you call this big? Anyway, yeah, okay, I got your point. So,
right, so I was like, no, I can't use that name. Maybe in the future I will, and I'll make folk Mexican music. But right now, it's not a thing. So I was like, what am I? I am a person who's looking for collaborations, but life is pushing this individual to be a one-man show. What is this? It's like, if you listen to it, you're listening through a computer, so you don't even see me. It's an object. It's Octagramophone. And that was the birth of that project. That gig, they wanted a link to SoundCloud or any platform that had a sample of your music. So I quickly recorded a song called Pirate Party. Not the version that I have right now online, but like a premature version. And Pirate Party is a song that I love. I wrote it in a trip to Copenhagen, and we went to the north of Denmark, just visiting, and I was staring at the sea, and I was like, wow, this is like Scandinavian, all this Scandinavian vibe coming. Like I can see the north, you know, and so Pirate Party came up, and I came back from the trip, and I had that song in my head, so I just quickly put it together and had the gig, and people responded really well to it. I mean, they were interested, they were listening, they were not. The majority was not chatting, you know. They were really
not booing or not, you know, throwing stuff on stage.
I know we once got booed. In the early days, I remember. I mean, sorry, just this reminded me of that. We were at a Depeche Mode tribute in Mexico City, and it was quite a big audience. Like I would say, like 2,000, like 2,500.
Wow,
like
that's a big audience. That's a big audience.
It was big for like an act like ours, and we were like the second set, like an encore. But everyone did like the main band did like very legit. You're kind of listening to the Depeche Mode, like they follow the studio sound. So everyone was like super happy, and then we come in with like this acoustic, sad, like Bauhaus version of the Depeche Mode. They hate us, they booed us, and yeah, I that feeling is so intense. So that didn't happen in my first gig in Toronto. No one really booed me, and I was like, well, and that's what happened. I after that week, I spoke with the band that I was working with, and I was like, guys, it's been amazing, but this is pulling me, and I was forced to do it alone. So I know I can do it. And yeah, I had a couple of performances. My last one was right before the first lockdown in Toronto. Little did I know that this whole thing was coming. So luckily, I had that performance, and I began to put out music. But it's so funny because this new music, like the first year, like my releases in 2019, are completely the opposite in terms of my mindset to my Sweet Suicide Monkeys material. It's me now saying, okay, what can people tolerate nowadays in terms of sound? Like, let me test how comfortable they are with weirdness. Like, so like, how weird can I be for people through music? What makes them uncomfortable with my voice? What makes them comfortable? I did this whole thing with, I think social media is, you know, a key actor now in music. So I released songs, individual songs, because I noticed a lot of people were doing that, and people were easily digesting just one song. It kind of broke my heart a little bit, because all those songs were really an album. together.
No, I'm with you, but we're gonna talk about this maybe a little bit. I can give you my scoop on it, but yeah, I know what you mean.
So, that first year it was like I think I released like 5-6 songs that are part of like a 10-song collection that I really hope one day I put it out as what it was meant to be. But giving just little snippets, 1 song per month. My strategy was attract people. And this connects to what you were saying about, and we were talking about your song, Hell Belongs to Me, when you just feel like you need to put something out there. That is this last EP. Like Hibernesque is the name of the EP, 3-track EP. Rise is the first song is the opening song. And that was it. Like, I was like, screw that. Like, I respect everyone's different strategy, and that's fantastic. But breaking my work into 1 song and giving it to you every month because like you are thirsty for social media content is not why I really make music. So Hibernesque was more like an experiment. It was like, I'm not even going to think it that much. I'm going to write 1 song per day, and I'm going to record 1 song and mix it per day, and then that's what it is. So it's the lyrics are completely similar to what we were talking about Hell Belongs to Me. I did proofread them before recording them.
Okay. You did much better than me then.
1 more step. But I was like, this is visceral. Like, this is just coming. And Rise is like that awakening. Like that song, I'm kind of singing about like Canadian fall. Like the leaves are changing colors. The nature is kind of dying for a while. But something else is coming up. And so it's like, I think for me, what's dying right now is this thing about following what social media musicians do. And I think what really was my breaking point was when I began to read some articles from certain influencers. Like, songs should be 1 minute long that they fit a TikTok.
Don't get me started.
Or, musicians have to release something every month. And I was like, no, like, okay, I see where this is going. I wish everyone who's following that a lot of luck. They're probably going to do very well, but I'm staying in my thing.
No, okay, let's stay here. And I just, because I completely agree with you. And, as much as I hate it, I'm a little influencer as well. I'm a very little influencer. But I also decided, like you know what, best of luck to everyone who does it, and I talked with some influencers on the show already because I wanted to know how we take it, and it's interesting, but it's kind of like, I'm going to do my thing, and like you're going to do your thing. And if the algorithm, the new masters, if they pick it up, fine. If not, I'm still doing what I like and what I love. And that's the only thing that counts in the end, Of course, you are right. You should kind of every month you should put out something, that your followers get a little blip and something, the algorithm gets a blip and whatever. And I think this can work as well without going against your integrity as a musician, because you have a few singles and then you put them on an album or an EP and put out the rest, with it. So it's not a big change for you, But in the past, I have to admit, I was really looking, there's 1-2 people more on Instagram now. And then I lost 1 or 2 and we're like, oh man, I'm really sad. And I was like, it's my show. I can say, fuck it. I say, fuck it, because it doesn't really matter, I only want to cater to the people who get what I'm doing, like what we're doing now. A lot of people told, even my radio boss told me, Tobias, I don't want a 1 hour interview to air on your slot and whatever. Nobody's gonna listen to that. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want. He wanted, little blips, like 3-minute short segments where you say, oh, you did this song. What did you mean? Oh, I meant da 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 da. And then it's over. How much information is in there. There's nothing. And I'm not interested in that. So, and of course, as you know now podcasts are a thing. And as I started, we were kind of like niche, and now we are big. And Anyway, sorry, I'm getting from one thing to another.
No.
What I'm going to is I'm absolutely with you. Do what you like, do what you love,
Yeah.
and do it the way you like it. That's the only thing that matters, you know? I mean, yes, you're right. It's good if you make it a little bit more palatable. Yeah, palatable is the right word for the audience. You know, that you're not
Yeah.
kind of so how you say, not so rugged that they cannot really digest you. You know, so but you know what I think your strategy is at the moment, and I think that's absolutely the right strategy. Is kind of you get it a little bit more. How you say, cleaned up, so you get your hooks into the audience, and then you can show them the harder stuff, you know, the more experimental and the more
Yeah.
strange, crazy things, and that's absolutely fine. But the main point I'm going to say to you, and what I have for me is, stay true to yourself. Do what you like in the way you like it, and don't, you know. I have, you know, as you also. I have lots of friends who are musicians as well, and one, a really good one, actually the guy who mixed and mastered Hell Belongs to Me, he is a really, really good musician. But he always looks, oh, this is trending right now. I should do music like this. And then he always, you know, runs after trends and never really, I mean, he's also quite, you know, he likes electronic and he likes metal and whatever, and so he played in a lot of different bands. But he's always running behind things, and I think you can never win if you just copy what others have done and what is in at the moment, you know. And as you know, the algorithms change anyway. So I don't care. I decided not to care anymore. You know, it still bugs me a little bit when I see my you know, followers go up and down and stuff. I mean, it doesn't bug me if it goes up. But you know what I mean. But I'm like, the trajectory is right, and I know I'm going the right direction because I'm authentic. I'm doing the things I like, and so should you. You know, this is what I tell all the artists, because only you can sing like you sing, and only you can do the music you do. So stay with it. You might not become rich, and you might not be anything, but if somebody finds you, he finds the real you, and not just some, oh, this was my, I don't know, this was my goth phase, and this was this, you know, and whatever. And yeah, you look through my music. I did a lot of different things, but this is what makes you, you know, the person you are. So anyway, please stay the way you are. And maybe let's go back to this. You said you had gigs before, one gig before the first lockdown. So how do you go about, you know, I have a few questions for you. How do you go about presenting yourself live? Because, you know, it's always a little bit tricky if you're alone. You know, first of all, we talked already about it. It takes a lot of guts. So kudos to you. You have a guts. That's great. But how do you do it then, you know, technically? Because you cannot play all the things at once. You have a backing track, I take it. But how do you... Okay, or I make it even more precise. The problem sometimes with solo acts is that they have backing tracks, of course, but it gets stale quite easily. Because if you know, how do you get around the staleness? Because you cannot improvise. You know, you played in a band when you just looked around and, hey guys, we take one more, and you know, and things go organically. And here you have kind of, if the song is 4 minutes 30, it is 4 minutes 30, and you cannot extend it. You know, you know what I mean. So how do you go about making it not stale?
Yeah, you know what? That was my number one fear, and that's why I never did this before. Never, ever. Because I was like always worried that it will sound... I mean, having a backing track is so difficult to make it sound good with whatever. You don't control the sound engineering system of the place you're performing at. So, you know, sometimes everything might sound amazing in your home studio or in a studio, but then you take it down on stage and it sounds so flat and low and no one can hear anything. And then the guitar and voice are so loud. So I was always like, I feel afraid of doing that. And then a lot of my musician friends, and not all friends, some people that I just know, always tend to say things about those who perform solo on stage, you know, like, oh, if I see just one person, I don't even listen to that, or whatever. Like, kind of like this is snobbery from bands that I'm not, you know, I'm not judging, because maybe I had that when I had a full band or
Yeah,
whatever.
me too. You know, in the past, you know, it was like, oh, we just hit one button
You just
and
yeah,
sing
it's
a little
playback.
bit, and they even have, you know, their voices on you know, their chorus and stuff yeah, you know, I've been there too. You
I've
know,
been there too. Yeah.
I've been
And then
like,
so
oh
now
no, this is not real music. You know, you don't play. Nah, it's not real.
exactly. So being that snob, because I was one,
Hmm.
or had that snob part in myself, made me then it trapped me, because then I was like, well, I depend on getting to know Canadian musicians to do
Hmm.
anything. So what I did was, okay, I began to see other musicians who were doing things by themselves. I mean, and who are successful. Someone that really blows my mind how she is doing it is Grimes. I mean, she's
Hmm.
mainly by herself, and her sound is so messy live. and but I think this is the key. Her sound is also messy on the recordings. So I was like, wait, I think what she's doing is she's just showing the very true raw aspect
Hmm.
of making music, and then there's little mistakes, and then there's like this little weird thing, and then this a little bit off tempo. So I mean, not that I wanted to do that, but I was like, okay, that honesty part, I think that's the key. So what I did was I had songs in different tuning. So I was like, keep that, because it does give flavor to the sound, and it will help for songs not to sound exactly the same. So that was my first like strategy, was like keep the different tuning, though that brings some complexity of like bringing more gear. But I was
Hmm.
like, okay, I'll do it. Then the other thing was, so what I'm running Ableton through a computer, but what I'm doing is I'm stripping down the versions from the recordings that I have to make them sound more like the core raw version. So I'm really throwing the beats first, and sometimes you hear like a few seconds, like a few bars of just beats, and then I throw the bass, and then I
Hmm.
begin to play guitar. So like what I'm trying to do is for people to see that they're like, yeah, they're tracks, but they're tracks. I'm
Hmm.
not just like ding, play, and then here we
Exactly.
are. Sorry.
Hmm.
And that breaks the songs a little bit, though, because you you don't get the sound of the song as packaged as you will get it from listening to my stuff online. So I'm hoping that's what people see, that that's a live factor in it. And for these versions where I have like I'm throwing beats or whatever, I have included now spaces where I allow myself, if I feel the audience is connected, I allow
Hmm.
myself to improvise.
Oh, yeah,
So
this is important. This because yeah,
yes.
this is where I always, you know, see the problem. Okay, my perspective is for a dark wave act, you know, where usually you have dark wave and the people they don't move much anyway, so they can really do this and just hit play and you know, do their thing. And don't move much around, and you know, people expect it like this. But for you, you know, you are more, your music sounds more organic, you know. It's kind of it would be really strange if you get like the sanitized strict stuff like you recorded it. And so yeah, but that sounds good, because yeah, I think your music needs the live component, you know, that you can do something, that you can react to the audience, you know. And
Yes.
okay, cool, yeah,
Yeah.
that
So that's the
sounds good.
thing. I have some like wild cards that no
Exactly.
one
This is exactly
really knows.
what you would need.
Yeah, and sometimes I've like that last gig in February was very like there was not that many people, and they were not really reacting very well. Like not they were listening, but they were not. I could see they were not extremely excited. In that
Hmm.
show, I didn't include any of the improvisation because I was like, I think they just want the next act to come.
Hmm.
So let me give you the more. I was thinking, let me give you the packaged, concise version of
Hmm.
what I do. But there's been other gigs. I had one in Montreal that was amazing. That one, I mean, it was a smaller audience, but like I think there were around probably less than 50 for sure. But it was a beautiful space.
Hmm.
The sound was incredible, and I was just there. I did all my improv. Like I did land every
Hmm.
single thing. I actually added
Hmm.
songs on the go, and because
Hmm.
I was seeing people were paying a lot of attention.
Okay, that's
So
perfect. That's perfect because then it can be a really one man band, a really being live, and I get it, But this is what kind of I never liked it, to have a backing track because it's so it's kind of
yeah,
clinical, sterile. It's kind of
I
like
think I
it
think that's
doesn't
a
live.
mistake.
It doesn't live.
Yeah, I think it's when you see it as a backing track, so you just hit and then let's say you happen to play guitar and sing, so you have everything in that one track. I think that's where it fails a little bit because people will notice even if they're not like they don't know that much about making music. They will notice it's just play. It happened to me in one presentation. It was just one song, and I always strip them down for these performances. And this time it was like in an open space, so I knew all my noise, all my sound was not gonna sound really well in this open space. So it was more like beat and guitar what I brought. But this other artist came before me, and he had a full they just they had like one track with everything. Yeah, it didn't it sounded very flat in that sense. But when you were saying about something I want to say is that when I finish these shows, I don't know why, but in the last 5 shows, always someone comes to me, like a random, or sometimes a friend, and they come and say, "Oh, I thought it was gonna sound flat because you're a one person," and it didn't. And I'm like, "Yes,
Yeah, exactly. This is what you want to
that's
hear.
it." Yeah,
Perfect, perfect.
like, thank you so much for saying that because that was what I was afraid of. Is the people would say no. Now, the other thing is, I don't want. I mean, I'm enjoying being a one-man show, but it's not like I really want to be. And I mean, maybe this is an open call for everyone who might listen. I'm really looking for someone.
I
It's not
talked with
that
other bands from Toronto, so there's other people there, just check. This is Empress. Look at Empress. The guys are from Toronto as well. It's I think a 3-piece band in Toronto. Anyway, I think I talked with other Canadians as well. So
I'll look because I'll keep looking.
Okay.
My dream is to at least have one collaborator, at least one, and we can always figure out other sounds. But I think for multiple reasons. One is I'm really at that point where I can keep going by myself, but I would love to have someone injecting their sound as well to make it
Exactly.
more rich and more exciting.
This would be one of the questions I would have asked you because this is always the. I'm completely with you. This is the cool thing with having a band. You have so many different influences, and you don't know where it will go. You bring in a riff or an idea, and then it kind of spirals out of. Something what you would have never thought of, because you're not in your bubble anymore. And also, this would have been one question, or I'm just asking you now, because a tough thing for a solo artist is also how do you decide when a song is finished? Because you have no one to tell you, I mean, and you know it yourself. If you're sitting there in your little room in your room, whatever, in your studio, and I can add this, and I can do some echo, and I can do some this, and there could be a second bass line, and you never really finish. I know, of course, a song is just a snapshot of a moment. You are freezing in time, but with a band, I think it's easier because when somebody says, "Okay, let's keep it this way. I cannot play this bass line only like this," and then it's kind of set. So maybe, first of all, I completely get it. At least one other person.
It will be amazing.
I can tell you how I work at the moment. But just maybe we answer this question first. How do you get to the point where you say for yourself, this song is finished, or I'm going to stop here?
I think it's a feeling, like it's a hunch feeling inside me.
Okay.
There's certain songs that it's like literally like Rise was, Rise is it's a very cool song in the sense that I just went in. I had like I think like that MIDI controller, and I had just purchased it actually, and then I was playing with some sounds, and I was like, oh. There's this synth bass line I've created, and then like everything came up, like percussion, voice, and everything. and in like 3 hours, Rise was created.
This is the best thing when it just falls into. Oh, see, this is what I wanted to say as well. Just yesterday, I was talking with a friend. He's not a musician, but we were talking about our the things we had, and you reminded me of this. This is that's such a very delicate and very good thing when you find the people you really click with. That's something very, very. I don't know. It's more important sometimes when your family. If you have a band where you really can trust with each other and you have the same goals. And it sounded like the guys you had, where you had the first gig, you were not on the same page. You were kind of like, oh yeah, let's do some music. And I'm a bass player myself. I can play in a lot. I mean, not at the moment because whatever. I could play a lot of different bands, but I don't want to because I'm kind of like, yes, I like this and I can go through the motions, but it's not, you don't have this real emotional bond with them. And you asked me about Megamodash. This was the name from the band I had in Hungary, and we were crazy. We were practicing whole weekends, for 8 hours straight. We were playing our music and just rehearsing and stuff because we were so in love with what we were doing, and everyone was on the same page. And you had this with your, what was the Sweet Monkey or
Sweet Suicide Monkeys? Yeah.
Okay, a little bit darker.
Actually, that's why I expired the name. I was like, I don't think it's gonna work from now on.
Okay, yeah, no. So anyway, you get this. I just wanted to add this because you said this, what you're looking for. It's really something very special if you find people you really can click with, and who are. We don't have to have the same taste and the same thing. Like you said, it's even better if they come from a different background and they bring in something new to the table. But we need to have the same fire, the same direction and the same force what we want. Like I can clearly hear from what you told me now. You want to be on stage, or you want to do things, and you want to go there. And I had this. Oh man. I played for 3 years in a band. We had 2 gigs in the whole 3 years. And the 2 gigs I organized. And for the last one, I even had to kind of kick them on stage because we wouldn't want it to play. And it was,
Yeah, no.
And then I decided I do it on my own. Even if I hate it to be alone, like you are now, it's kind of like, I need to do it on my own because otherwise I always get angry at these guys. I like to play with them and jam in the rehearsal space, and it's really cool, but we wouldn't get anywhere. And
is it getting somewhere? I think like that's the key thing, and it I think there's many places you can go, but sometimes it's just showing people your music, and live obviously is like the ultimate version of that. Sometimes I feel more than the recording, and going back to the point of when you feel something is ready, that's what it is to me. Is like when I'm like, wait, hold on, this story now is ready to be told. Like that, it's just like sometimes I ask myself, Rise. My example with Rise was like that happened in like a day, but then there's other songs like, Pirate Party. It's 2 years in the making. There's another that I have called Is Desire, which is a little bit more of a poppy rock sound. That is Desire. It's from the original first version is from 1999. I have the recording. It's amazing to listen to me at my being 14-year-old recording with Cubase and like a shitty microphone, and it's so interesting. But it took like 2 decades or so for it to be something that I was like, no, you know what? Now let's do it. So I'm following that hunch feeling, but the only time that I've regretted, well, not regretted, but I feel like, oh no, that was too soon, was all those songs from 2019, the ones that I was like one per month, and just like make them sound a certain way because I want people to follow me. Those are the only ones that now that I'm listening to them, I'm like, yeah. There's one called Apotheosis that I'm like, oh my God!
I know his feeling. But I'm kind of staying to the mistakes I put out in the past. There's a lot of things I would not do again. But Anyway, yeah, I'm hearing you. I mean, we all been there, but you see, this is also the cool thing and the freedom you have. That. You have no label, you have no masters who tell you need to do this and do that. And yes, of course, you might cringe a little bit when you can, I could have done, just a little bit, but that's the way it is. Also, on the other hand, you can see your stepping stones, and if somebody discovers you, he can kind of see where you're coming from, and your journey through things. And that's also, I mean, it's not, you will not get a Grammy for that, but it's nothing to be too ashamed of. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, no, you're right. And then I think something that's working for me now is seeing songs as their little stories. So I guess if anyone is interested and listen to the 2019 songs up until whatever they decide to listen to, I feel that also tells a story, itself. Mm-hmm. It's like someone just saying, I'm daring to put music by myself. And I don't even know the future of all of this right now. I begin to feel open to having that at least one collaborator, even in a different country, because I feel like one of the few good things about all this lunacy we're experiencing right now is that it's allowing us to break free from those formulas we had before. There's this one band, maybe I'm completely wrong about this, MGMT, who I think they don't even live in the same city. They probably live in like East Coast and West Coast US, and it is the US, but nevertheless, it is quite a long distance, and that's how they make music. It's kind of like from what I understand, they're like just throwing ideas. So I'm like, yeah, even now, I'm open to that and always looking. My new stuff, I'm working with a drummer and a saxophone player, and I'm very excited. I hope I put it out in around April. But when I think about the live version of that, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I might have to reprogram the beats because I don't want it to sound like the playback. And if he's super talented, I'm really enjoying working with him. But if he's not there in the room, I don't want to play his, tracks. So I might encounter that problem in a year or so, where it's like, those songs, how do I bring them live if I'm still by myself?
But yeah, I mean, there's two ways you could go about it. I think, either you just don't play them live, or you just make a new version out of it, and people can find then the original and stuff, and because what I think that also plays in your hands is, if people hear a version and they go to a live show, we don't expect you to play exactly the same thing. I mean, we do it with a cover band like your brother was playing, and then we kind of expect that it sounds exactly like on the CD or on the recording or whatever. I just thought about a little tip I can give you, because I was once much more active on Reddit. You know Reddit?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of musician groups, and we have like they make little challenges where we do one song per week, and then you find, they mix collaborators. So there is a guy who writes the lyrics, there is a guy who sings, and there's a guy who makes the music, or sometimes there's more. And I got in there once, and I couldn't finish because I had trouble with the internet, so they finished without me. But it's really easy to find people there to click with. I don't know. I might find the Reddit thread, but you can find it on your own, I'm pretty sure. So this is very easy to, and they use Discord, to kind of send around the files and stuff, and do things. And it was very easy going, because everyone came together. Okay, we have to write a song. What do you want to do? Okay, I can do this, I can do that. And, and then things just clicked. And then, of course, you got to know new people. For me, I'm in the lucky position. I get to know a lot of people. And also the one collaboration I did, the guy from Norway, I found through this radio station.
Amazing.
I talked with him. I really like your music, and this is great. And then he asked me if I can sing for him. So we formed a new a group. He's still doing his own stuff, but we're doing stuff together. And and right now, see, what I have now is. I have one guitar player who does the stuff with me for Megalmodash, and he also has his own stuff where I'm gonna sing on his stuff, and then we also have a complete band where we are 4 people all together, but we cannot meet at the moment, as you know. So there's like. In the 4 people, there is 3 different projects with us. And that's really cool because I really like the freedom of music. I don't want to. First off, we wanted to just be one band, and then we realized, okay, we are too different because one likes, black metal, and other one, it's kind of very far opposites. And so we decided, okay, you know what? We do one band, and this will be a little bit more gothic, and this will be a little bit more electronic, and so we kind of just branched out. It's all the same people, but we mix in different collaborations and in different groups, in different subgroups for different things. So everyone can do whatever he or she likes. It's two girls and 2 boys. And I really like that. I like, this is where I really like the freedom. It's kind of whatever you do is right, and I can express and try different things, and I really love that. So going back to you, I'm a little bit unhappy to hear that it's tough for you to find people, but it's please bide your time. I can tell you, as I lived for 3 years in Budapest, where I formed the original Megalmodash. It took me 1 year to find one person I could click with music-wise. And it was really a tough time for me. So
it's about patience, I guess.
Yeah, this is. I know it's hard. You're sitting there and you're kind of how you say you're grounding your feet. No, how you you're like a horse. You want to go. How do you say this when you can? Anyway, there's I don't know the saying yet. Like you want to go, but you cannot, because
yes, I know the feeling. Yeah, it's no, and yeah, I mean, it hasn't happened, but I'm hopeful. I mean, when you were going about your experiences, I was like, yeah, that's so true, and there's some things there that I haven't tried, and I can tell you a very brief, cruel story that happened this year, 2019. 2020.
Don't make me cry.
It's gonna be cruel. It's in that gig, the February last gig, I met a guy who really liked, I think, what I was doing, and he introduced me to other 2 friends of his, and I had a band for a period of time that was working
for a week or something.
For 5 weeks or so, and we were working on it was probably going to be under the Octagramophone umbrella. And I was like, found them. This is it. Mm-hmm. This is the magic. And the sound, like in a very brief period of time, the sound got elevated to another place, which is what I wanted. People coming with their influences. Mm-hmm. Lockdown happened. And I think because we didn't know each other from before, like we didn't have a very strong
bond and strong connection. Mm-hmm.
I do believe that lockdown did destroy that possibility. I'm still in touch with a few of them, and I'm trying for this new stuff that I'm recording towards April, trying to have 2 of them being part of it. But that was, and I say it's cruel because for someone like me who had been looking for, I think now it's 3 years, I was looking to meet people who I could feel genuine connection with. I did find them. They all lived in Toronto. We all found the common ground, and yeah, I feel like it just became like a challenge. And look, even at the beginning, I think we were naive, thinking, yeah, we might be able to rehearse and keep this again in June.
I hear you. This is not going to, because it's dragging out too long. For me, the same happened with I had I stopped playing theater for a while because, I have a family and I just wanted to focus more on music and stuff. So, but then I was like, oh, I want to play theater again. And then in 2019, I started to play theater again. No, actually 2018. And I just wanted to have a very small role because, just, getting out there again. And then, 2019, the first lockdown, and we thought, we're gonna do it online, and and it fell apart. It was gone. It's not possible. I saw now one of the guys who he made some little thing where he kind of filmed. Where individuals filmed themselves with their cell phones and kind of cut it together and stuff. So we are still trying to do some art and to do some, plays and stuff, but. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I'm doing this now. I'm talking with people from all over the world, and that's fine for me too. I don't feel I waste my time, that I don't know what to do with it. Quite the opposite. I'm quite busy because like everyone is sitting at home at the moment and cannot do much. So they're more open to talk with me because I'm a nobody, But anyway, yeah, I'm really sorry to hear that. No, yeah, but at the moment there's nothing you can do.
Exactly. I think it just means that there's a potential for it to happen. That's how I say it. A friend of mine told me like last week we were chatting about it, and he was like, maybe you should say it in a different way. Just like it was an attempt. People exist. They are attracted to what you're doing. They do want to form a band. This just happened, but I still take the cruel side of it because it's more dramatic and it sounds more interesting to say that way.
And it is, and I'm sorry to hear that for you, but yeah, I mean it's just such a strange circumstance, and yeah, I'm also lucky that I found the people before the lockdown and a while before the lockdown, so we kind of got a little bit a closer connection already and can work together. And now I have here I see your studio, and I have here my little home studio, so I can do voice work and whatever. And that's cool. So we can work because we already have a direction and stuff, but with a new band, I'm completely with you. You first have to kind of, jam around a bit and see how things go and get to know. This is also the nice thing, on having a band. Like I said, if you have really people you click with, you have something stronger like a family, and it's also important that you, at least as I see it, that you have people you really like to be with, because best case scenario is that you go on tour with them and then you have to spend 14 hours per day with them, waking hours or even longer, so you sleep in the same bus or in the motel or wherever, and so you need people you like and can really click with and have things in common, kind of. Octi, now we need to find, a nice thing. Let me see what I
know,
kind of...
to closely in the high end.
Okay, we have this. Do you think about streaming a show or something that you can do a live stream like on Twitch or on YouTube? Have you thought about that?
At the beginning, I was like... I felt like I again, with that naive thinking that this was going to finish sooner, I felt, what, I missed the train of doing that. I'm not going to do it. But no, I want to do two things. Right now, restrictions here are a little more strict at the moment, but once they ease a little bit more like before, yes, I have an idea for around a couple of months later, doing like a kind of special, collaborating with these folks in one place and making actually this more like emergent improv, whatever happens, and having some of the music being more like a little base, like a seed to this moment. So it's more like you're seeing like a freestyle situation.
Okay. And
I'm already thinking how I'm going to promote. That's the one thing I learned. The one good thing I learned from this year of focusing on social media was the freedom you have to promote if you are by yourself or you're not a signed artist and all that stuff. and how you can use these tools. So I'm already thinking of what I want to do visually with the April release, and I do want to do like a mini showcase. The drummer, who he doesn't know, but I'm gonna tell him, he lives here in Toronto. He lives in Toronto, and I'm hoping, right now we're focusing on just it's more like studio musician, session musician type of collaboration. But I'm wondering if we're both in this city, if we can actually do something to celebrate the me publishing this new work.
Release of okay.
So I think only those two. I just want to do it like in those two little instances, because I'm not like, one of those very well established bands that if I just log in 10 minutes on Instagram, people will jump to see me, right? So I feel like in my case, I need to pick one or two opportunities.
You don't want to stuff it too much in the face of the crowd,
Yes, exactly. So I'm thinking about that. Hopefully it works, but I think with all of that, there's a big to be determined right now with this whole thing.
I see. One other question I've wrote down. We never really established what kind of music you like. I mean, I can kind of guess it a little bit, but what is your favorite bands or influences where you really think, oh yeah, this gets me going, or just give me a few.
Yeah, a few. So I feel like I'm a offspring of my taste, the type of music that I do, which is it's a wide spectrum. Classical music is always there, by the way. So ever since I'm a kid, so that's the most constant. But I think I oscillate between sometimes a little more of a darker sound, like Bauhaus. I really love Bauhaus. Depeche Mode.
Oh,
it's there. There's this one band from the UK called O.Children.
Yeah. Of course, I talked with him. He liked my music.
No.
The singer. I was like,
Tobias.
I was so Tobias King is his name, and he's a really cool dude. You can talk with him, and I was like, the guy from O.Children. He follows me, and he even talks with me, and it was like,
what?
I was a little fanboy.
We're connected via Tobias King because. So
I'm Tobias as well, by the way.
And you're Tobias as well. So and I did think about it when he told me your name. He did add one song to a playlist of his last year, the Pirate Party, and I noticed he follows me as well. So it's so cool that we share him as a person we know. But that music from these guys is incredible. I mean, their song Ruins.
This is one. Oh, I need to put it in my playlist again. Thank you for reminding me.
Please do, because that specifically that song, those two albums, I know they have a third album that never got released. So I hope one day we can hear it. And
he's working on new music, as far as I know. So he's trying. I mean, now he has the same problem as everyone else. And he has a family too. Anyway, so go ahead. O.Children.
O.Children. And there's this one. We did talk about Mexican music, and I'd rather show it. People might be seeing it backwards. But
Santa Sabina.
Yes.
Mar ardento en la sangre. Yes. Sangre is blood, right?
Yeah.
See, I can read a little bit Spanish.
Yeah, no, this will mean the sea within blood. And I don't know how. This is also one band that I don't know how to describe. So I connect with them in the sense, though they're way more epic than I am. Barocco rock, experimental jazz, but this album is amazing. And even though I had this little resistance towards Mexican music when I was younger, I do appreciate a lot of Mexican bands. So this is one of them, and I totally 100% recommend. And then I have like what I call my center, which will be Radiohead, PJ Harvey, Kashmir from Denmark. I'm obsessed with their sound. Kent, the Swedish. I think of them as a Swedish Depeche Mode in a way. Smashing Pumpkins. But I also have my lighter side, which is, J-pop. I listen to a lot of J-pop from the 90s.
Really? Okay.
Look, there's these two specific bands. One this artist called Kahimi Kari, who did start very pop-ish, but then went through this beautiful experimental environmental sound, and it's incredible the people she had collaborated with. There's another band called Pizzicato 5, which is
I
like,
know Pizzicato 5. Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
you know what? And I'm gonna say, even though I don't write music that J-pop-ish, but Pizzicato 5 taught me that you can do whatever you want with song structures, whatever you want. And I
Mhm.
do believe
Mhm.
that they're one of my biggest
I
influences
think I
because
think I even played them in my show or some. Anyway, I came across them and I was like, "What is this?" But I like it. Yeah.
yeah, and they're not active anymore. But
Mm.
as a duo, I think they
Mm.
do music separate. But I still listen to like their music a lot of time.
Mhm.
And it's funny because sometimes when I'm in the process of writing my songs, I go to J-pop. I think it's a way
Mhm.
for me to like just chill and
Maybe also cleanse your mental palate a little bit, because if you that's also the problem, like I talked earlier about when you are a solo musician, you kind of you're swimming in your own sea all the time and there's no outlet. It's kind of you need to get away for a little bit and listen to something different and then come
yeah,
back, that you kind of
yes.
have a clear perspective, because that's not easy. Anyway, so I allow you this. Even
My
if I,
J-pop
yeah, okay, yeah,
instinct.
Pizzicato 5 is fine, but J-pop in general, it's not my thing, I have to
Well,
admit.
it could be. There's other side of J-pop that I
Mm.
agree. It could be very
Hmm.
fabricated, but
Yeah, my
no.
wife likes K-pop, and this is so, this is not my thing at all. Oh, man.
I've allowed myself not to go into K-pop.
Mm.
I think of, I had one slot for that type of music. It's already J-pop.
Exactly, it's
That's
already
one of
taken. So,
it's to get the 5 did it, so no more of that. But yeah, so yeah,
um,
I think it's quite varied.
uh, because we are already over the 1 hour mark, I would like to wrap it up a little bit. And
Yeah.
one thing I always like to ask, and we can end it maybe on a funny note. Let's see, because you have a lot of already stage experience and stuff. Can you tell any incident or funny mishap what happened on stage, where you kind of were something funny or something embarrassing where you can laugh about now, or so? I mean, don't tell things that you can tell. I had
Yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
one band telling me, that what the singer was shitting in his pants as he was on
Oh
stage, and
wow,
I
so
didn't like
glad
I
that
didn't
that
like
hasn't
that
happened to me.
that much. But yeah, no. So do you have any funny story?
I mean, two actually.
Okay.
The Oh, sorry, it got a little bit, it blipped a little bit. Well, one was a booing situation, because I mean, half of the audience liked it, so we have 1,000 people liking it. Then we have 1,000 not liking it and booing us out. And the funny thing that happened is like I took this attitude of I'm finishing the song. So then
Hmm.
I mean, the worst thing of all of this is that it got recorded professionally. So there's two things you can see. Me, I'm like yelling
Hmm.
because I'm like trying to say no, like stop booing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, like
you show them
exactly,
who you are.
exactly, exactly.
Okay.
So we're
Mm.
singing "Barrel of a Gun," and I think we were doing well. It was up until we played one Depeche Mode song, "I Feel Loved"
Hmm.
from Exciter. That's the one that I think broke the people because we did it in a very different way.
Hmm.
And but I have the copy of that show. I rarely listen to it because it hurts. But the worst is you can hear the booing, and
Hmm.
that's like it's one of the. I laugh
But
at it.
it would be funny if you put it out, because then it's kind of like, I don't care. I'm standing over these
I will.
guys. It would be funny,
Exactly. I
but
will.
of course, don't do it. I mean, because it was Sweet Suicide Monkey, right? This was the name of the band. Oh, you're clicking again. Oh, you're gone. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, you're back now. You're back now.
No,
Okay.
this is
Sorry, you were gone for a little
this is
bit.
the most.
Hello, hello. Do you still hear me? Hello, hello, Octi. Hello. Can you still hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Now I can hear you again. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh, no, it froze. Okay. Let's try again. Let's try.
I can hear you now.
Okay, good.
You know what?
let's
I
at
was
least.
laughing.
Okay.
This should be the episode. Like
Okay.
it of course it froze at the end of a conversation.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, it's kind of almost the perfect ending, but not completely. I wanted to
It
say
was
at
very
least
funny.
goodbye and something. Okay, but you said you had two. Give us the other one. You had
Oh, you know what? So I love to dance, and I noticed that. Yeah, this is the second one. Is I love to dance as when I go out and whatever, and I noticed I was beginning to do it on stage. So it's not fun, but it's a cool thing. So then I learned that that should be one of the traits of my music, that I can dance to even this sad, depressive music that I put out there. So now I incorporate that in a more thought way, and it has I get good feedback about that. It's like, oh, like you seem so into it, and you're dancing to these sad lyrics. I'm like, exactly. I think that's what I want to show people. You can enjoy some of those raw, some of those raw emotions. So what was a silly accident before, which was just me doing stupid little silly things on stage. Now it's becoming my
your trademark, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but
So,
that's cool. And if you like it and you don't force it, and I think it's absolutely fine. I saw one of your Instagram thing where you were also dancing. I was like, oh, let's see how he is in person, because yeah, I really liked it, because it was like, if you have watched my, I stream my radio shows, and I'm usually dancing there as well, because I'm kind of like, I think it's boring if I, just present the next song is by da 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 da, and then I'm sitting there for 4 minutes until the song is over, and then I present the next song. So I'm usually dancing or doing something or chatting with people, and yeah, I like this too. Okay, so let's wrap this up, and it sounds good. It sounds like there's new music coming, and you're working with other people. And of course, shout out to all the people in Canada or Toronto or in the world. There is a guy who needs you, who wants you.
I need that.
Exactly. Just get in touch with him. I'm going to link to you anyway, so people should be easily finding you. And yeah, thank you. I enjoy your music. It's not always easy for me to listen to it. I have to admit, not everything is so. It also depends a little bit on my mood and how I am, because your music is a little bit more taxing. It's not how you say, like elevator music. It's not something you can just listen in the background. You really have to kind of put your attention, and I like it. I don't think it's a bad thing, but it's sometimes when I'm a little bit more like, I need something for the background, it's not the best for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, this actually speaks more about the quality, because you really need to focus on it, because it grabs your attention and it will tell you something. So, Octi, thank you very much for your time. It was really fun to get to know you. And please, and I mean this honestly, whenever you finish something, just send me a link, or to Spotify, and I'm going to listen to it. And if I really like it, you can send me an MP3 and we can play it on the show. So and of course I'm going to promote our talk on the show as well. Then
Same here.
So. Yeah, and
thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
So much fun.
Yeah, me too. And
so
and
cool.
I hope you stay healthy and you stay sane in Toronto. That things will work out soon. I mean, in the summertime it will be easier to go out again, and then maybe have some concerts out there, and you find people, because I've been there, I've done that. I know how tough it is to just be on your own. I mean, you're doing well, obviously, but it's much nicer if you have some people to share it with, because for me, it's not so much that I need so much musical input, even if it's a nice thing, but also that you have a soundboard with somebody. Oh, we could do this and that, or what should we wear? What should we? How should we start the show? Do you want to do some theatrics and stuff? I like that. I need people to bounce off ideas. That's what I really need, and I guess you too, because we're human beings. We like to collaborate and stuff. So check out Reddit. This is something
That's a great idea. Yeah.
I can tell you, and who knows? Your contact details will be here in this video. Maybe somebody will hear this and get back to you. Who knows?
That will be amazing. Yeah, and stay safe as well. I really enjoyed chatting. I'm really hopeful for I think the future will be coming bright and exciting again. And next time I'll dare to speak a little bit in German. I do have actually a German song already around
Really?
in the internet.
Cool.
It's more my puppy song, but I'll show it
Not
to you.
Rammstein. It's not a Rammstein song.
Sadly, no, it wouldn't be like that. It's something more like
no, when I don't want to hear it. I only listen to Rammstein. No, it's fine. No, cool. Cool. So vielen Dank für deine Zeit. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias, señor, por I don't know. my tiempo. No, what's time in Spanish?
Yeah,
tiempo. Muchas gracias por tiempo.
Yeah, that was great.
I only can say una cerveza, por favor.
Of course, that's universal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no, stay safe. Keep your humor. You're a really cool guy. I wish you honestly all the best, and that you find the people you can really click with. As we talked, this is so important and so something very special. And yeah, keep me posted whenever you have something out. Let me know, and yeah. Have my dinner is almost ready, so have a good good lunch, your lunchtime, right? And talk to you whenever you wanna talk again.
Awesome, we'll do it again. Thank you so much. Danke schön.